You are listening to the It's Your Time podcast, and I'm your host, Certified Life Coach Michelle Arnold Bourque. In today's episode, I'm discussing realigning your energy as strategy. Welcome to the It's Your Time podcast, the podcast where busy professionals like you get the practical solutions and support you need to gain control of your schedule so you can strive to be the best in your career, but without the stress and overwhelm. If you're looking to increase your energy and decrease your stress, you are in the right place. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast, friends. Okay, here we are at the midway point of 2025. Can you even believe it? I know. I feel like I say that at the end of every month, at the end of every quarter. Now we're at the midway point of the year, but it does just seem like time is flying by after, let's say, January. That just seemed to drag on forever and ever. So for this episode, I really want you to take some time to sit with it. Maybe you can listen on a walk or while you're sipping some coffee, and maybe you can just take a little bit of quiet time. I don't know, even in your bathroom if you have to, okay? And grab a journal. So listen and do. And you know how much I love passive learning. I am all about it, right? I love listening to the podcast and to the classes on replay. But where we really see change in our life is when we actually start taking action on doing the work. And this episode is your invitation. Actually, no, scratch that. This is your reminder that you do not need an invitation to reset, to refocus, and to realign. In fact, what I'm talking about here today can be used if you want to take it at a weekly level, at a monthly level. But I really want you to at least just get started with looking at June, because it really is a strategic turning point for you to be able to take a look at how you manage your energy. And your energy is your most powerful asset. And then how alignment, real internal, what lights you up alignment is the best strategy that you could implement. I am telling you this from experience. If you only knew some of the stories that I have for work, which I do sometimes share here, but it's so funny because I have had people say, like, we should look at your strategy, what your thoughts are around strategy. And I am like, you don't think manifesting is a strategy? But it can be when we're being very intentional and purposeful in what it is that we want in life, the goals that we want to accomplish, and the results that we're looking for. So why does a mid-year even matter? Well, it matters because we're halfway through it, right? And I want you to just pause and honor that for a second. Most high-achieving women that I work with, and maybe you can relate, rarely take the time to acknowledge what you've already accomplished. It's always like, what's next? What's missing? What needs fixing? Who can I help? But here's the deal. Your brain is wired to scan for problems. That's your primitive survival-based system doing its job. Totally normal. And in neuroscience, it's called negativity bias. Your brain naturally remembers the one thing that went wrong more than the 5 things that went right. Think about this. This is why I always suggest at the end of the day or right before you go to sleep, instead of thinking about all the things that you didn't do, shouldn't have said, should have done better, be intentional with reminding yourself of all of the things that went well. So first, I want you to take some time, give yourself permission to reflect intentionally. Ask, what's working, what's not working, and what do I want more of? And if you've been here with me for a while, you know that I've used those first 2 questions for years. What's working? What's not working? And then I used to say, what do you want to change? But I'm changing it up here. What do you want more of? Because here's what's true. Clarity comes from reflection, not reaction. And mid-year is a prime time for this. You've got enough runway behind you to see the patterns, and you have enough runway ahead of you to shift any trajectory that you want to. So let's take a moment and dive into energy first, and maybe some say strategy second. But again, I think energy is the strategy, because your nervous system, if it's fried, it doesn't even matter what your goals are. We are conditioned to think that strategy is about calendars, color-coded to-do lists, 5 a.m. wake-up calls, but your true strategy, it's how you feel while you're moving through your day. Because how you feel is what ends up driving your actions. Think about it. Anything we do in life is because of how we think it will make us feel or because how we do feel. And don't get me wrong here. I love an amazing color coded calendar and I do enjoy a to do list. But the key is you need to have the right feeling behind it or else it will not matter. It's basic cognitive behavioral science. Your thoughts create your feelings drive your actions, and your actions create your results. So we could, in fact, have the same exact actions, but taking them from different energy, different feelings, and I promise you, the results will be different. If you're forcing strategy from a place of exhaustion, resentment, or maybe fear of judgment, it doesn't matter how perfect your plan is. It is not sustainable. And let's just take a moment and kind of talk a little bit more about nervous system because this is where the real power is. And it has been quite a learning experience for me. Your nervous system is your body's communication highway. It connects your brain to every part of your body and plays a huge role in how you respond to stress, to pressure, and even success. And it's made up of two main parts: the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight mode, and your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest mode. So when you're in fight or flight, your body floods with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, and your brain goes into survival mode, focused on short-term threats. You become more reactive, maybe anxious, maybe impulsive. And here's the kicker. When you live in that state for too long, your prefrontal cortex, that part of your brain that's responsible for the clear thinking, the decision making, and the long-term vision, it starts to go offline. This is why you can have the perfect plan on paper, but still feel stuck, maybe scattered, maybe even shut down. And then on the flip side, when you activate your parasympathetic nervous system, your body feels safe. You become more creative, intuitive, and emotionally regulated. And you're not spinning in scarcity or chasing external validation. You're operating from alignment. And this is why I say alignment is the strategy, because your nervous system has to be on board with your goals. I even talk about this when I talk about changing your thoughts in order to create new results. You have to believe it. Your body has to be on board. Otherwise, you will be in resistance. So instead of asking, what should I be doing right now? Try asking, what's the most aligned next move for my energy today? Your energy, not your to-do list, is what determines your effectiveness. Again, another thing I talk about so often here, the idea that we need to be busy. Busy does not mean productive. This falls under the same category. When we are intentional about how we are showing up, what it is that we want, we are way more likely to create the results that we most desire. So let me take a moment here and I want to talk about a 3-part reset that you can use. And it's super simple. It will be your mid-year reset. It's a simple framework that you can come back to again at any time if you need to realign. So number 1, reflect with clarity. Get honest with yourself. No judgment, just awareness, and ask, what do I want to keep doing? What do I need to stop doing? Where am I saying yes out of guilt or fear? And where am I wanting for someone else to tell me it's okay? Here's a super powerful question for you. If I only knew then what I know now, what would I do differently moving forward? Just give yourself 10 minutes. Journal, walk, think, but don't skip this. If I only knew then what I know now, what would I do differently moving forward? I have really been reflecting back on this question myself for so many different parts of my life. Because oftentimes we think in the moment, right, that we should have things differently. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's something with a job that didn't work out. But what if you just didn't know back then that that was the perfect next step in your life? What if where you are now is the good old days? I find it so fascinating. And the more I'm researching quantum physics and time not being linear, I'm going to bring all of that to you as well. It is just blowing my mind. Okay, number 2. So Number 1 was reflect with clarity. Number 2 is reclaim your energy. You don't need a week-long retreat to recharge. Try these small, science-backed shifts, and you will see a difference. Number 1, breath work. Simple breath work. And listen, I have done 45-minute breathwork exercises, but that is not what I'm suggesting for you. I am suggesting just 1 minute of intentional breathing that can regulate your nervous system, where you inhale for a count of 4, you hold for a count of 4, and you exhale for 6. This is nothing that has to be fancy. You breathe anyways. I'm just suggesting that you be a little bit more intentional with your breath. It's so funny, right? When we talk about, I don't have time to meditate, I don't have time to do this, I'm so busy. You breathe. We breathe anyways. It's just that we breathe without even thinking about it. I'm saying let's put a fancy little twist on it and be intentional and think about it. Next up, sunlight. And Andrew Huberman talks about this a lot. 10 minutes of morning sun, especially if you're in sales or working from your car, can help to regulate your serotonin and your sleep-wake cycle. I have a little bit of work to do in that part, sleeping and waking cycle. But, we're all works in progress, right? Next up, energy audit. Pull up your calendar. What are your high drain activities? What fills you up? Then make one change this week, just one. Again, this is not all or nothing thinking. One change. Remember, productivity is not about doing more. It's about doing more of what matters most with the energy that serves you best. Okay, number 3, realign your focus. So again, let's ditch the idea that it has to be all or nothing. I have to do it all. You don't need 12 goals. You need one intention that you can come back to even when things feel chaotic. So try this structure. This month, I choose to focus on blank, fueled by blank, and supported by blank. So for example, this month, I choose to focus on consistent follow-up, fueled by service. I especially love heart servant service, and supported by boundaries around my schedule. And when you align how you feel with what you're doing, you become magnetic. You move faster, not because you're rushing, but because you are clear. And then let's kind of wrap it up here. I want to talk about letting go of the need for permission. Listen, this is a big one. You don't need anyone's permission to reset. You don't need your manager's sign off. You don't need your partner's understanding. You don't need your friends to get it. You don't need more likes, more approval, or someone saying, yeah, you should do that. The real shift happens when you stop waiting for someone else to validate your desire and you start honoring it yourself. And this can be a challenge. We are in a society where even at the level of our school systems, we are looking for approval. We are looking to do what the teacher tells us so that we get the A. We are taught what to think, not how to think. And that rolls into so many aspects of life, especially if we're looking into sales, right? This is for me. I'm not just talking to you. We get a quota. I know that's what I have to go to. Then I get that a girl, right? So this is really a shift that you have to be intentional about thinking. And I want you to hear this. You are allowed to want what you want, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else, even if it makes other people uncomfortable, even if you can't explain it yet. But let me give you one caveat. When I'm talking here, of course, I'm talking about legal activities. You get to want what you want under the legal umbrella of society, I guess, laws. You don't have to justify doing something that feels good to your soul. And sometimes the most important thing that you can do is remember who you were before the world told you to be different. Think about that. Remember who you were before the world told you to be different. Before you learn to play small, maybe to kind of quiet down, tone yourself down, before you decided that being nice and likable and perfect was more important than being fully you. Because somewhere along the way, maybe in your career, maybe relationships, or maybe even just, again, absorbing the messages that we have around us in society. You started editing yourself. You started asking, is this okay? Instead of, is this me? But here's the thing, you playing small doesn't serve anyone. And I will say, I recently saw a Lewis House post that I thought was so fascinating, where he talked about someone that he, I guess, saw, made a post about the difference between being nice and being a good person. And if we are a good person, we show up, and it's okay to put boundaries in our lives. It's okay to say no. You can still be a good person. But when we're told that we have to be nice and it has to look a certain way, that's where we start to lose ourselves. But when we do that, you playing small keeps the next woman from seeing what's possible. You playing small disconnects you from your own life. So let this be your reminder. The things that light you up, they are not a distraction. They are a direction. They're pointing you back home to who you really are. And when you are aligned with that, you don't hustle for worthiness. You move from knowing. And you know, I love good hustle energy, but it does not come from the need to build a level of worthiness. When you know this, you lead differently, you sell differently, and you show up with clarity, confidence, and energy. That is what is magnetic, not manufactured. So here is your reset invitation. Again, reflect, reclaim your energy, and realign your focus. And above all, trust that you already know what you need. And let June be the turning point, not because you hustled harder, but because you listened closer. And if you want a simple tool to help guide you through this, go to michelleburkecoaching.com/playbook. I've created a free resource to help you realign your energy, to take back control of your time. There are so many great little nuggets in there, and you can do it in a way that works for you. And also, if this episode resonated, I would love for you to share it on Instagram or LinkedIn. Tag me with one of the words that represents your mid-year reset, because you don't need to do more. You just need to realign with what matters. And I always love to hear what matters to you. Okay, friends, that's what I have for you today. Let's meet back here next week. But for now, make it a great day. Take care. Did you know you can take this work to a deeper level with me one-on-one? Go to michelleburkecoaching.com and click on Get Started to begin.